This week we bring you the second part of our favorite fidget toys. We're going to start with a very special fidget, and to make it we need to make oobleck. We put in a bowl about 70 grams of corn flour, and we're going to add the water very slowly. This substance is called oobleck, and it's very cool because it is liquid and solid at the same time. We already made it in another video and we had a blast. So as you can see, we have to add water to the corn flour until it gets a consistency that is very difficult to stir. Here I added a little too much water, so I'm adding a little bit more flour. And now yes, this is what we should have. When we have our oobleck ready, we're going to put it in a bottle. I tried to put it in the balloon with the funnel and it was impossible, so I recommend you to do it this way. When you have the oobleck inside the bottle, you're going to inflate your balloon a little bit. Now we turn the top and we're going to put it on the bottle. And now we're going to empty it little by little. When it's ready, we take out all the air that's left in the balloon and we close it carefully. It's pretty small, isn't it? It's very cool. The texture is great. It seems to be very hard when you start to squeeze it, and suddenly it becomes liquid. The truth is that this one is one of our favorites at the moment. We cut the top part very carefully. And now looking at it, it's so tiny that it reminds us of someone very special in this series, Tiger Piña. So we're going to draw her face with a permanent marker. Ready. It reminds us a little bit of the slime balloon because it always comes back to the same position, but the texture is completely different. And now we're going to make the ultimate fidget, a die with 6 different fidget toys. Now I'll explain the materials we will need for each side, but these were the general ones. And as I always say, this is optional, but I've laminated the colored papers to put on top of the cardboard. That way they will last much longer. The first side of the die we're going to make is the yellow one, and of course it will be dedicated to our friend Gato Rainbow. As you can see, I will use a pipe cleaner, some colored beads, and anything you have to make holes. We will calculate where we have to start making the holes so that Gato Rainbow's image will fit, and we will make 6, as you can see here. We put the pipe cleaner through the first one, and now we're going to put the beads. I'm going to put 3 on each side. And remember to leave it a little bit loose so that we can move the beads like this. It's very relaxing. And we're going to secure it very well on the other side. Now we're just going to put the pipe cleaner through the rest of the holes. And we're going to do the same thing. Put the 3 beads, we pass it through again, and that's it. At the end, we're going to secure it very well on itself, and it's ready. And with a little bit of silicone, I'm going to glue Gato Rainbow's image, and it will look perfect. Look how cool it is! Let's go with the next one. We're going to make the side of Puma Pomelo. I'm going to do it on the other side, but I'm putting it here to see where I have to make the holes, making sure that I can fit the image. I made 4 circles and I'm going to cut them out with these scissors, very carefully. It's very important that the holes are smaller than the marbles that you're going to use, because the idea is that they don't slip through the other side. What we want is that they stay in this part of the cardboard, and that way we can rotate them. Now, so that they don't get inside of the die that we're going to make, we're going to secure it with a little piece of plastic. I used small pieces of plastic from a Ziploc bag. And I secured it with silicone. And as you can see, it doesn't go to one side or the other, but we can rotate it with our finger. It's super cool and it's really relaxing. When we have them all in place, we put Puma Pomelo in the middle. And it's ready! The truth is that this one is one of our favorites. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to not miss any of our videos. Let's go with the next side of the die. Can you guess who will be on this one? That's right, it's going to be for Tiger Piña. That's why it has such a nice green color. We already made a joystick in another fidgets video, but we liked it so much that we wanted to repeat it in this one. As you can see, I simply made 2 little holes in a cap and 2 other little holes in the cardboard. Now we add an elastic band to the cap. And we also put it through the cardboard. And we tie a knot at the back and cut all the elastic that's left. And finally we're gonna glue Tiger Piña's image. Perfect! Now we have a super cool joystick. Don't forget to take a look at our website. We have a lot of educational resources to download. Check it out because we're sure you will find one that you really like. And don't forget to let us know in the comments. Let's go with the next one. This time we're going to make Classic Outside. And that's why we've chosen this blue color. We're going to make some small rectangles on the back. 2 centimeters by 1. And we're going to cut them out very carefully with the help of a cutter. We take out everything we cut. We should have something like this. And now with another pipe cleaner and 4 beads, this is what we're going to do. To give you an idea, this is how it's going to look more or less. And we can move them on the other side. So we're going to start sticking it on the back, putting a little bit of silicone, then putting a bead, and we're going to lift it up and add some silicone, only in the middle part. Very careful not to stick the beads. And also being very careful not to burn your hand. And that's it! Now it's the turn of León Storm and Pantera Flower, Gato Rainbow and Gato Moon's grandparents. We'll need their images, a small piece of mesh, and a few marbles. We'll start by gluing their images to the square. And we'll put the mesh like this. And we'll glue it very carefully from behind. When the glue is already cold, you can do it this way. And do the same on the other side. Perfect. And now we're going to put little dots of silicone on the top so that it sticks perfectly. And when it's completely dry, we can put the marbles in. As you can see, we haven't glued the bottom part yet. So we put them all inside. And now we're going to close it completely with little dots of silicone. And when it's cool, we're going to put some pieces of pipe cleaner on top and bottom, so that it will look even more beautiful. And it will also have a much more polished finish. And look how cool it is! Lastly, we're going to make Gato inside. For this one, we're going to need 2 small pieces of fabric and a couple of buttons. As you can see, I'm sewing the 2 buttons to one side of the fabric. And on the other side, I've cut 2 small holes that will be the buttonholes. Now, as you can see, I'm closing it so that they fit perfectly. And with a little bit of glue, we're going to glue it to the square. And that's it, we put it on, very careful not to burn ourselves. And we have it! It opens and closes. If you make this die for babies, it's the perfect opportunity to put a little plastic mirror behind it, so that when they open it, they can see themselves reflected. They will love it. And as you can see, we already have the 6 faces of our die. They look great, right? Let's assemble it. We put one of the faces upside down and a little bit of silicone on one of the sides. And we're going to put the other faces of the die like this. With a lot of patience and always waiting for it to dry completely. And as you can see, I'm reinforcing the inside of the sides with a little more silicone. Ready. We put the last one. And when it's completely dry, we can play. Now look how it has turned out. We really love it. With this fidget, you will never get bored, because when you get tired of one of the sides, you can use the other one. Which one was your favorite? Tiger Piña side? Classy Cat side? Gato Moons? Gato Rainbows? The grandparents, León Storm and Pantera Flower? Or the side of Puma Pomelo? Let us know in the comments, we'll love it when you write to us. Our next fidget is going to be an infinity star. And now I'm going to show you slowly how to fold each of the squares to make this fidget. First we fold it like this. And we're going to open it up again. And now we bring the corners to the center. Like this. And when we've got that done, we're going to open it back up. And we're going to bring the corners to the fold that we just marked. Like this. When we've got it, we fold it back on itself. Now we turn it over and we bring these corners back to the center, but as you can see, on the other side. Perfect. And now we've got this kind of tabs on this side, so we're going to fold them over. We fold it back on itself, and we have this shape, a kind of heart. And now we're just going to glue them to each other, alternating the colors. You can use any kind of glue, but make sure it's strong enough so that the whole star doesn't come off later. If you like this fidget toys, don't forget to let us know in the comments. We'll make more of these videos for the channel. Let's keep going. When we have them all glued, we add a little bit more of silicone or glue and glue it to the first one we put. And it's as easy as that. Check out how good it looks. We simply have to go around and around, and as you can see, it never comes apart. It's super cool. What do you think? Now we're going to make a very special squishy. We're going to start by cutting 2 pieces of foam of the same size. And we're going to draw a Gato Rainbow and Gato Sardine on top. You already know that we love to make materials with this sardine because they turn out super cute. Once we have it, as you can see, I've gone over it with a slightly darker color marker. And we're going to cut out the 2 pieces of foam at the same time, so that we have the same shape on the other side. See? And now we simply turn it over, and we will also paint the outline with a darker marker. And now it's time to make the filling of this squeezy. For this we're going to use a plastic bag because it will make a super soothing sound. As you can see, I'm cutting a few pieces to make sure that they fit inside the squishy. Now we're going to glue the 2 pieces of foam that we prepared before. And you can do this with hot glue gun or with cold silicone if you have it. Or you can also sew it if you want. When we have it, we will leave a little hole without closing, and we will start putting the little pieces of bag in. When we see that we have enough bag inside, we will close it. That's it! The truth is that we could have put a little bit more of plastic bag and maybe it would have been even better, but we love it. Listen to the sound that it makes. It looks good, doesn't it? And it's super easy to make. We continue with a fidget that we love. We're going to start by making slime, and for that we're going to add a whole bottle of white glue, about 250 milliliters, and about 4 balls of shaving foam. Here I added a little bit more because the last one was too small. We mix it all together really well. And now we're going to dye it pink. And we're going to put a lot of glitter on it. As you can see, our slime is not yet activated, and this is the perfect moment to add the coloring, because this way everything stays the same color. Don't be shy with the glitter, you know that it looks perfect in slime. At first, it seems that you can't see it, but then when you squeeze it well, you can see it perfectly. And of course, we're going to add our glitter stars, which we love. When we have it all mixed, it's time to activate the slime. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of baking soda and 3 tablespoons of contact solution. Here I made a mistake and added 4. That's why it ended up being a little bit harder, but remember, it's better to add 3 or to see the consistency of your slime and see if it needs more or not. As you can see, it was activated immediately, but it's important that we keep mixing it so that the contact solution reaches all the slime. When it's no longer sticky and it doesn't stay between your fingers, your slime is ready. Now we're going to use a transparent balloon to put our slime inside. In this balloon, it would have been very nice, but we didn't think of it before, to put a few colors in the same slime and not mix them all. Like this slime of the universe that we did the other day. Because when kneading it with the balloon, they would not have mixed and it would look beautiful. If If you want us to try it in another video, leave it in the comments. When we put it inside the balloon with a lot of patience, we will see that it has fewer bubbles, so let's try to remove them by hand. And if you can't, you can help them out with a pen. And when there's almost nowhere left, it's time to close it. And remember to close it very, very well. Look how cool! It's just like kneading slime, but it's not sticky at all. And it works just like an anti-stress ball. This is the perfect solution for all the moms and dads who don't like slime, because it grosses them out a little bit. This way the kids can play with it without staining anything. What do you think? We love the glitter and the stars inside the balloon. It's amazing! Let's go with the next balloon. Well, now we're going to make some mochis. For that, we're going to use a few water balloons. As we did before, and we're going to fill them with flour. As you can see, I've taken a bottle that has a very small top to fit our balloons. And with the help of a piece of paper, I'm going to fill the bottle with flour. Perfect. And now we have inflated one of the balloons, as I said before, very carefully. And we're going to fill it with flour. As they are so small, the sensation is great. It reminds us a lot to the mochis you can buy, as I said before. You can also paint little faces on it if you want. We close it. And we have our first mochi. We're going to make many more, because you'll see that playing with several at the same time is amazing. Although, we also have to tell you that it's not as easy as it seems. We had a little accident. It seemed that everything was going well, and we were filling our green balloon, when all of a sudden, it decided to explode and fill the whole room with flour. Well, and with the colors we chose, the mochis reminds us a lot of the characters in our series. The green is Tiger Piña, the blue one is Classic Cat, the orange is Puma Pomelo, the red one is León Storm, and the pink one, because we didn't have any dark blue, is Pantera Flower. We love them, and look, playing with all of them at the same time is a blast. We also highly recommend this fidget. And now it's time to make a squishy. This time a Gato one. We're going to do the same as before. We've taken an image of Gato and we're tracing it. But since it's so dark, it was a little bit difficult, so we put a flashlight underneath to be able to trace all the details, not forgetting the stars and the moon on the tail. And when we had it, it was time to paint it. So with a little bit of purple paint, we started to decorate Gato. If you like to see how we paint, we have a playlist that we're going to leave in the description of the video, where we do a lot of drawings of Gato Rainbow and Gato Moon and other characters. And when we already have the body painted, we're going to make the outline as we've done before with Gato Rainbow. Perfect. We already have Gato Moon ready too. As we've done before, we're going to put a paper of its color, in this case purple, and we're going to cover all the drawing with the thick tape. In Gato Moon being darker, you can see a little bit more of the tape, so make sure there are no bubbles. Perfect. And now, as we've done before, we fold the tape backwards so that it sticks well to the paper we've put. And now let's start cutting. We're going to seal the tail completely with the tape, because we're not going to put any filling there. It would be a little bit fragile and our squishy could break. When we've sealed the whole body, we're going to put the stuffing. And in this case, we're going to put this beautiful cellophane paper, because we think it will make a cool noise inside the squishy. We open the hole that we'd left unsealed, and we put the filling in. And when we have it, we're going to put the tape. With a lot of patience. And it's ready! Listen to this squishy! The next fidget is going to be a balloon with Play-Doh in it. As you can see, I'm dividing it into smaller pieces to make it easier to put it inside the balloon. And now we're going to open it like this, and we're going to put the Play-Doh in little by little. If you make smaller pieces of Play-Doh, it will be even easier. Now we have all inside, and look! We're going to try to get all the air out. And we're going to close it. If you make DIY Play-Doh, it will probably look even better. Remember that we have videos of how to make Play-Doh in our channel. And now, being this big, it reminded us of León Storm, Gato Rainbow and Gato Moon's grandfather. So we're going to draw his face. And it's ready! It's really cool! And it's a lot of fun to knead it, but look what happened! It didn't even last 2 minutes. As the Play-Doh was quite hard, the balloon broke very quickly. That's why I think that this will look much better if you make your own Play-Doh. Let's go to the next one. We're going to make a puppet with cardboard or paper. As you can see, instead of using cardboard, I used laminated paper. But if you don't have it, you can use any piece of plastic or a piece of cardboard. Let's start by making a circle on our piece of paper. And do the same in the other color. And now we're going to cut them out very carefully. Ready! And now we simply have to make a cut halfway through the circle. And we're going to overlap it this way to create a cone. We stick a piece of tape on it so that it doesn't move. And we do the same on the inside. And now all that's left to do is trim the excess tape with scissors. Perfect! I'll repeat the same process with the other circle. If you want us to make more fidget toys videos, let us know in the comments. Now with the tape that we used to make the circle, we're going to make other circles on the cardboard we had. But look, I'm using the inside part to make a smaller circle. And we cut it out. And we do the same thing on the two pieces that we had, making sure that they fit perfectly. And now to make the shape a little bit nicer, we're going to cut it out. This way it will look more like a puppet that you can buy. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, don't forget to do it, so you won't miss any video. We upload 2 every week, one in Spanish and one in English. Now we're going to make some small cuts all around our cone. It is simply so that when we put them in the circle, they fit perfectly. Now you'll see. And we're going to bend the little flaps with our fingers a little bit. And look, this is how it should look. It fits perfectly in the circle that we'd made in the cardboard. Now we repeat the process on the other cone. And we're going to glue it very carefully with silicone. We put a little bit on the circle, and we put our cone. And we do the same on the other side. and glue it. It's already looking good, right? Now we're going to glue the other side. For that, we're going to put silicone all over the surface of the cardboard. And we're going to glue it like this. See how cool it looks? And this is what it sounds like. It's super relaxing. It's not exactly like the puppets that you can buy, but it's close enough. What do you think? Do you like it? What colors would you make them in? Well, let's move on to the next fidget. We're going to make some very special balloons. As you can see, we've taken some water balloons that are very tiny and we have to inflate them very carefully. This part must be done by you as an adult. It can never be done by a child alone because the balloon can get in the mouth and give you a good scare. And now we're going to fill them with shaving foam. That's perfect. And now we're going to try to get a little bit of air out of it. And you'll see that a little bit of shaving cream escapes, but that's okay. Close it as best as you can. This part is a little bit difficult. When you wash your hands, you can play with it. The sensation is great. We totally recommend it. Although it's true that after a few days, it's just air inside. But it's really worth it. The next fidget is super easy to make. With a bag like this, you can make several of these fidget toys. You can do it in this part here, or if your bags are like mine, you can cut the bottom because they already have the perfect shape for this fidget. You can hardly see it, but here I have this piece of plastic that folds in half. I'm just going to make a kind of tube, so I'm going to put a piece of tape along the length. On the bottom, I put another piece of tape so that the marble doesn't come out. And I cut all the excess tape. And now we put our marble inside. It's super simple. We put another piece of tape on top so that it doesn't come out. Cut. And it's ready! It's that easy, and it's very relaxing to play with it and move the marble from one side to the other. And now we're going to make another version that makes much more cooler noise. We've taken a piece of pink cellophane, and we're going to cut it to the same size as the plastic, making sure that it's wide enough for the marble to fit inside. We also put a little bit of tape to create a tube, and as you can see, it's the exact same thing as before. We close it at the top, cut it, put the marble in, and close it again. Now I'll show you the sound that it makes because you're going to love it. By the way, what videos do you want us to upload from now on? We love to read your suggestions. Look, the two fidgets sound great. But now I'll show you more closely the pink one so you can see that it sounds very different. This would be the clear one, and the truth is that we really like it. And this is how the pink one sounds. Look. Since it has the paper inside, it sounds much more when we move the marble. And it's even more relaxing. The fidget we're going to make now is awesome! We're going to start dyeing the water purple. And we're going to add glitter. It's going to look a lot like the slime we made last week, inspiring Gato. And this fidget also reminds us a lot of her. And to make it even cooler, we're going to add some glitter stars. We stir it well. And look how cool it's turning out! If you want to do just this part, it's super fun. You can even play with the kids to make magic potions. And now we're going to pour this mixture that we've made into our bag. We could have also mixed all the ingredients in the bag itself. Perfect. And now we're going to hold it like this, and we're going to squeeze out all the air, and we're going to close it super well. Now, before we put the tape, it's very important that we dry everything perfectly, because if not, the tape is not going to stick well. First, we're going to put one piece closing it. Even though it already has an airtight seal, with this we make sure that no water gets out. And then we're going to fold it like this in half, and we're going to put another piece of tape on. As I said, it's much better if it's thick, because that way we make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. And now it's time to play with it. It's amazing! You've seen that it took us no time at all to make it, and it looks super cool. It's very relaxing to move it between your hands and see how all the glitter and stars inside move. You can also make it in any color. Let's move on to the next one. We really wanted to make this one. As you can see, I folded the piece of mesh, and on top I'm going to put a piece of baking paper, making sure that it's covering the mesh completely. And now with a flat iron, we're going to put it like this, very carefully, just on the edge, and as it heats up, the plastic of the mesh melts and it stays closed. We do the same on the top. And when we already have this kind of tube, we can put in our marble. And now we finish closing it again. And that's how easy it was to make! If you see that you have a little hole, you can go back with the iron and make sure that it's completely closed, so that you can enjoy your fidget without worrying about the marble coming out. And look how cool! The truth is that we love it! We've tried this with a piece of plastic, but this way we like it a lot more. Let's continue with another fidget. We're going to start opening the bottle of our water beads and putting the balloon on top. And now we're going to pour a few of them inside. We can fill it with our hand on the outside. Remember to subscribe to our channel to keep watching videos like this one. When we have enough beads, we're going to fill it with water. Here, as you can see, first I tried to do it with a funnel, but I recommend you to go to the top because it will fill the balloon much better. Here I just got a little bit, see? And here I had already filled it, and we simply have to tie a knot. And now we have to wait for the beads to hydrate with water. You know that they grow a lot. We leave it aside while they hydrate. And look how it turned out! It looks really cool, doesn't it? The truth is that it feels amazing to touch it. It's super soft and you can feel all the little bits inside. And with these colors, it reminded me a lot of Puma Pomelo, or a character from the series. So with a permanent marker, we're going to paint the face. And look how cool! It turned out great! So far we have to say that this one has been a success. For the next fidget, we're going to use a little sponge. As you can see, our sponge came with a string, so let's remove it. And now we have it ready to decorate. To paint your sponge, you can do it with fabric paint or acrylic paint. As we didn't have any fabric paint, we had to use acrylic, but we assure you that it looks perfect. In this case, we're going to make a cloud because as it's a sponge, we think it will be very cool to wet it to. Although simply this way we get a very relaxing fidget that we can squeeze and it will leave us super relaxed. Well, and since we hadn't done anything on the other side, we decided to make a rainbow. And look, it's simply amazing! You can decorate your sponge as you like. And it looks a lot like a stress ball, because you can squeeze it and it will take away all the tension. But on top of that, being a sponge, you can put it in the water. We crush it so that it absorbs all the water. And now we take it all out when we squeeze it. It's amazing! It's a super simple idea, but the kids will love it. We certainly liked it a lot. And the best thing is that you can use it wet or dry. What drawing would you do on your sponge? We made a cloud because when you pour the water, it looks like it's raining. Let's continue. For this fidget, we're going to have to make slime and make it white. I've already poured 200 milliliters of white glue and 3 bowls of shaving foam. Now I add 1 tablespoon of baking soda and 2 tablespoons of contact solution. And I'm going to mix it very well. Here I was seeing that it still wasn't fully activated, so I'm going to add a little bit more of contact solution. And as you can see, it depends a lot on the slime. Sometimes we need more and sometimes less. But that's okay, with practice the slime always turns out perfect. And as you can see, when it no longer sticks to your fingers, it's ready. This one is perfect. We love this sensory balloon, maybe it's our favorite, because it changes color and it looks amazing. We got the idea from this subscriber here. Thank you so much! We were really surprised at how good it looks, so we encourage you to try it if you haven't done it already. As you can see, I've put a balloon inside another one, and now we're going to put the slime inside with a lot of patience. Careful here, because if your balloons are very thin, you have to do it very carefully so they don't break. It's best if they're a little bit thicker to make sure that they're more resistant. When we have put all the slime in, we close it. And now you'll see the effect. It's super cool. It looks like a pear. It's quite funny because the colors are just right. But look, when we squeeze it, you can see the color underneath. So it looks like we have a green balloon, but when we squeeze it, it becomes light orange. You can choose the colors that you like the most. The more different they are, the more beautiful the effect will be. What do you think of this one? Let us know in the comments. Let's see the last balloon. Recently, in a package of fidgets from Amazon, we got a pineapple puppet. And we liked it so much that we wanted to recreate it. So we took some cardboard and foam, and now on a sheet of paper we're going to make the template of a pineapple. So you can see I like to make the stencils by folding the paper in half so that they're perfectly symmetrical. That's it. Now we separate the top part of the pineapple. Now we're going to cut it on the foam. You can also trace it on the foam and cut it out later. And we do the same with the bottom part. It's perfect. And now we're going to trace it on the cardboard with a pencil or a pen. And cut it out again. This way we will have a more solid base for our puppet. And now we're going to glue the foam on top of the cardboard. And if you get a little bit of silicone on the sides, you can remove it with another piece of foam. And now we glue the top of the pineapple. Perfect. And as you can see, we're going to use tiny eyes, just like we did before, with a simple dimple one, but more tiny, because the sound they make is great. And we're also going to paint them all with yellow acrylic paint. You will probably need a couple of coats. because with just one, maybe you can see the black part of the eyes, and it doesn't look so good. So you wait for one coat to dry, and then paint the next one, and when we have them, we're going to glue them on the foam. That's it. It turned out super cool, much better than expected. And listen to the sound that it makes. Not bad at all, right? We love the result. Let us know in the comments what you think. And we're on to the next fidget. Fidget with pegs. So you just have to take a few clothespins, remove the metal part, and we're going to hook them one to the other. When you get to the end, you hook it to the first one, and just like that you have a cool fidget. This fidget is always a success. It's a blast to play with it in your hands, and you've already seen that it took us a minute. Now we're going to make another very simple fidget. We're going to make a simple dimple with these googly eyes. You'll see how cool it looks and how good it sounds. So on a little piece of cardboard, I'm making a rectangle. We cut it out. And now we're going to glue the two little eyes on top. Perfect, and now we're going to paint it with acrylic paint. This way we can paint the plastic and the paint won't fall off. We're going to make a yellow one in honor of Gato Rainbow and a purple one in honor of Gato Moon. When we have it dry, we're going to put a little piece of glitter paper to cover the base. Cut out the two little circles, and now we glue it. And when we have it, we're going to give it the shape of a simple dimple. Perfect. And look how well it turned out! We love it, and you have already seen how easy it is. And look how it sounds! It may be the easiest way to make a simple dimple. Let's keep going. This time we're going to make another slime, but this time we're going to dye it dark pink. And when it has the color we want, we're going to activate it. And we're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking soda, we mix it, and 3 teaspoons of contact solution. And we're going to mix it very well to activate the slime. If you want to see more ways to make slime, we'll leave you more videos in the description of this one. We finish kneading it with our hands. And it's ready! Let's put it inside the balloon. In this case, we've chosen a very light color, so that when we put the slime inside the balloon, the color changes a little bit. If our balloon was a little thicker, the effect would be even better. But these are the ones we had, so let's do it like this. We put the slime in, and I'm telling you, this requires a lot of patience, because at first it seems impossible to get it in. And let's try to get the air bubbles out as we've done before. We cut the top of the balloon, and look, it looks orange, but when we squeeze it, it's pink. It looks so cool, doesn't it? We would have liked to get the air bubbles out better, but it was impossible. If you have any tricks to get the air bubbles out, let us know in the comments, so we can try it again in another video. But we really love the results. It has the best of the anti-stress balloons, and on top of that, it's so cool to look at. And for the last fidget, you just need a pipe cleaner and a straw. Now we're going to cut the straw into small pieces. As you can see, our straw is made of paper. We don't have plastic straws at home because they pollute a lot. And you know that we have to take care of the planet. Now we move them a little bit and we're going to join the beginning and the end of our pipe cleaner. Perfect. It has to be like this, very tight. We cut off the excess of pipe cleaner and we're going to try to put the knot that we've made under one of the straws, so it will look perfect. When we have it, we can play with it. And you've already seen that this one was also super easy to make, and you can also wear it as a bracelet. And it looks super cool. And when you want to play with your fidget, you just take it off and play. Not bad, right? Let us know in the comments which one of these fidgets you like the most. And if you want us to continue making homemade fidget toys, don't forget to let us know as well. See you soon!